After 4 events, we are here. The Margaret River Pro in Western Australia. Welcome to the West.
Dolphins in the lineup. Conditions are hectic.
Home to heavy water reef breaks and an open swell window.
Oh my gosh.
Surfers arrive in the West with more than just the risk and reward of the local waves on their minds.
Surfing for survival.
We've never had pressure like this.
It's cracking out here.
For some, this will be the end of the road. And surfers might be falling off the tour. For others, it is only the beginning.
It's all about life and death style surfing.
From 34 and 17, only 22 men and 10 women will continue the championship tour on the road to the Rip Curl WSL Finals. Unlike any other before, this is the Margaret River Pro.
I've been having this vision. Either rise or you fall. I'm on a mission, bringing my dreams to fruition. I ain't playing at all. Bring out the body bags, I'm about to kill them, deliver them to the mortician. I gotta do what I gotta do. That's for my fish, back in my face. I gotta do what I gotta do. I pray to God, he never came. I'ma do me, I'ma do me. That's in my blood, I never change. That's in my blood, I never change. That's in my blood, I never change.
Good morning and welcome to Western Australia, here for the Margaret River Pro. This is Dawn Patrol on the opening day of the waiting period on a beautiful Sunday morning. Clean conditions as you can check out the view over Main Break. What a beautiful place to be in the world, wide open space. You're going to hear this quite a bit. West is best. As we are on the Harvey Norman host set, Joe Chappelle, Shannon Hughes, and Richie Lovett. Pretty fun already. We flew from Bells and you two had a very amazing lunch at Bass Felix yesterday. How was that, Shannon?
Some great food. Absolutely enjoyed it.
Pretty incredible to get things started in such an awesome way. Richie, you've come here so many times in your career. I feel like your personality changes. When you come to the West, you feel good in this environment. Does that really speak to your competitive success you've had over the years?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of success here, but I think it speaks more just to the area itself. It's just so amazing to come down to the southwest of Australia here, and you know the air is clear. There's energy in the ocean, and there's just a feeling that sort of comes across you when you get down here.
It's hard to compare this region to anywhere else in the world, Shannon. Does it remind you of anywhere else, or does it really speak for itself?
It definitely speaks for itself, but it has that kind of dry desert feeling that we get in California, but a little bit more wild, maybe like that northern region. And some good waves on offer, some great food around, and some good jackets for the cold mornings.
It's pretty interesting, Rich, too. As a competitor, you come here and you really don't know what to expect. It kind of has that Hawaii feel where you've got to have a pretty healthy quiver, big wave board. Some surfers actually bring their Hawaii boards to this venue. And then also, maybe you'll be thrown out at a slab across the bay called the Box. Maybe one of the most challenging events to win on the calendar.
Yeah, it's variety, and it dishes up all sorts of conditions from, you know, big onshore 15, 10-foot faces down to that slabbing, you know, horrible looking wave over there at the Box, but it's beautiful as well, and you could get the wave of your life out there. But definitely you have to be ready for anything from sort of 2 foot to 20 foot.
Things just feel a little bit different as we head to the West this year for stop number 5 with a lot of stakes on the line for some of the best surfers in the world. It's time for the call on opening day. Saying good morning to Ronnie Blakey and Jesse Miley-Dyer.
Morning, Joey. Morning, guys. Jesse, we're back in the West. How good does that feel?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's so beautiful. I mean, you just got to look behind us and see it's not a bad office, that's for sure.
Not a bad office. It's looking beautiful, looking a little quiet though. What's the call for today?
Yeah, look, it is really quiet. Beautiful conditions, but not really any waves. So we're going to be off for today. There is looking like there's a bit of promise happening in the forecast, and you know, there's going to be a window even for tomorrow that we're going to look really closely at, but nothing for today.
There is always a lot of attention on the call when we're going to get competition underway, but a really difficult decision to be made. Probably more attention on just how much opportunities out there with that cut looming. Are you feeling the pressure from the competitors at all this morning?
You know, look, it's pretty quiet this morning, but we're absolutely aware it's an important event, you know, and we always take the same things into consideration, and we'll always make the best decisions that we know how to do. And our hearts are in the right place, that's for sure. So I'm really excited to watch everyone though this event, and to see who really stands up to the challenge.
It's going to be awesome, Jesse. Thank you for your time, and we'll check in again tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Thanks, Jesse. It's like we're feeling the pressure that we often felt in the past in Hawaii or at Honolulu Bay, where we were looking at surfers and what they needed to do to make the tour the following year. We're getting that at the halfway mark of the season with this brand new format. Let's take a look at the Surfline forecast, though, closely to see when we could potentially get the contest on. Rich, what are you thinking here?
Well, the swell's coming, that's for sure, and you can see here we've got small, very clean conditions today. It's going to be quite clean tomorrow as well as the swell starts to kick in, fill in, and then this beautiful, picturesque Margaret River that we had here today is going to change. It's going to get angry, and we're going to get this onshore stream. But what that's going to bring, Joe, is the swell. We're going to get a significant swell through the middle part of this window, and we're going to see waves up in the sort of 8 to 10 feet mark. I think there is going to be a bit of wind that we're going to have to manage here, but then it swings offshore later in the week, which is really, really promising. So not much on offer today. Perhaps another winery tour is on offer before things really get serious. And you can see here the longer range forecast deeper into the week, onshore, but 8 to 10 feet waves, which is really exciting. And the thing with Margaret River is it can be onshore, but it'll still be quite contestable. The right-handers especially will be quite punchy, and they'll stand up. So it's an exciting looking forecast, in my opinion. We may even get some box towards the end of the week.
Look at that. So we don't mind a wait. That's why we have a waiting period. We'll see what's in store. And with this big coastline, a lot of the best surfers will just take a drive and find some good waves. But this is what's on the line, the mid-season cut. Not like any other cut we've had in professional surfing. The top 22 men will surf at G-Land all the way through Tahiti, try to make the Rip Curl WSL Finals, and also be starting at the beginning of 2023. Women's side, you've got to be in the top 10 in the world. So the draws on the back end will include those surfers qualifying for the cut, plus a tour wild card and an event wild card per each event. Big news yesterday, Shannon. The men's tour wild card was announced.
Gabriel Medina is back. He's going to be in the draw for G-Land, and I think he's going to be right in there for a world title this year.
Pretty crazy. A guy that has the ability to potentially make the WSL Finals in 5 events. Well, Medina, welcome back. Can't wait to see you at G-Land. Coming up after the break, we're going to focus on the big names that need to survive the cut on the men's side. Maybe the Dolphins will lead the way to G-Land. We'll find out. stunning to be here in the West. As we dive into the whole story of the mid-season cut, Joe Turpel, Shannon Hughes, Richie Levin on the Harvey Norman host set. Richie, your longtime competitor, how are you feeling about this mid-season cut? Because that's been a huge conversation this year.
I'm nervous for them. This is pressure like we've never seen before on the tour. Like you said, it's normally at the end of the year. We're doing it at the halfway mark, and careers are on the line here. If you don't make it, you're back down to the Challenger Series, and you miss out on all these amazing locations that we're going to go to in the back half of the year. So the pressure is on. It's time to perform.
Well, there's going to be a little pressure valve release for certain surfers that have already got the news that they will be competing through G-Land through the rest of the year, even the start of 2023, Shannon.
Yeah, there's obviously some expected names there on the men's side of the draw who have made the cut, former world champions, those that have been really close. But we've got names like Baron Mamiya, Coyote Belly. They've made the cut. They're qualified for the rest of the season and 2023 for the kickoff. Ethan Ewing, Jack Robinson, Griffin Colapinto, some of those hopefuls to finally chase world title.
So cool. Kelly will be on tour 51 next year, which is so cool. Impressive. Looking at Bubble Watch, though, the cut line is right at 22. Owen Wright did some damage at Bells Ridge, moving up 8 spots to equal 23rd with Connor.
Yeah, he almost got the job done, didn't he? And both Connor and Owen, they're right there. And when you actually look at 14th all the way down to 21 they're not safe. They're not entirely safe making the cut. So there's pressure on this whole page here. But surprising to see sort of Leonardo down there and Morgan Sibley here. He had an absolute blinder of a year in 2021, and he hasn't been able to back it up, and he's trying to fight back. So interesting stories all through those ratings there.
And I think one of the biggest ones, Shannon, is one of the biggest surfers on tour, 6'3", one of the guys that has given us highlights from Fiji to perfect heats, rookie performances back in 2010. Owen Wright last year didn't re-qualify. He's a wild card this year, and he's still in trouble of falling off tour. How has that been going for him this year?
It's pretty wild. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do. And at a wave like Margaret River, where, back in 2015, we witnessed moments like this, him finding those perfect 10s out in the lineup, which is really special and just incredible to be able to remember. But he hasn't had the greatest track record at Margaret River. Same story out at Bells. He made the comeback at Bells, better his results that he'd ever had there, and now he's going to have to do the same to get past those quarterfinals here.
That 10 was one of the best 10s we've had at this event at the box, especially due to a backside. However, he didn't make the quarters that year. So it's like, speaking to what you're talking about, the results haven't been reliable in the West, and he's going to deal with the local wildcard named Jack Thomas and defending event champion world #1 Felipe Toledo, definitely with his hands full here.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, but when you think of Owen Wright, you'd expect him to tap into the energy here at Margaret River, and perhaps that big result is only just around the corner, perhaps a week away.
Also tied with Connor Coffin. Connor was clearly upset losing at Winky Pot. He felt like he never really had a chance because then Bells fired in the next couple of days of competition. Just like Owen, he's got a sweet memory at the box, following a pot of dolphins in the pit.
Oh, beautiful. I mean, these are those kind of things that you remember for a lifetime that we have just burned into our memories as well. That huge pot of dolphins comes spinning out the tube. That is something to remember, and you'll be looking for a moment like that, but with some more victory behind it.
Also up and down results. Connor featured in the WSL Finals last year, Rich, but it wasn't really because of his Margaret River performance. He got an equal 17th here. So we'll see how he's going to be prepared for main break. How's his heat looking with Ben Spence, who won the trials, and Kanoa Igarashi?
Yeah, obviously Kanoa is having a fantastic year, a lot of confidence, and Connor, I feel like his style is really suited to the right-handers out at Margaret River here. So if we get a predominant right-hander through the window, it's going to suit him, and the box as well. That vertical steep drop of the box, really gnarly. I feel like that'll favour him on his front side as well.
Ran into Connor yesterday. I was wondering what he was getting up to, and he actually went with his girlfriend just up the coast. They got lost on a beach and went body surfing. 1 foot short break. I think he's just trying to channel, keep the pressure off of himself, try to keep having fun, because that's when his best surfing comes to play.
Yeah, that's a really important aspect when there's so much pressure on the line for those surfers to tap into what will keep them in the best mental space, because physically their performances are there. They're all the best surfers in the world. They can do it on any day and take wins out here. We know that from everyone. Now it's going to be who has that mental strength to carry through under pressure.
Much more talk about the midseason cut for the top 17 as well that are trying to be in the top 10 to compete at G-Land. It's a lot of big names that will be following here at the Margaret River Pro, especially a previous event champion named Courtney Conlog, who's already preparing for a warm-up here on the first day of the waiting period. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the West. This is Dawn Patrol here on the first day of the waiting period. The contest is off today. We were checking out the venue that really provided a place for big wave surfers to develop their skills. Ian Cairns, Melanie Redmond-Carr, dangerous in their tour life coming out of Western Australia. And the stage is set for another great week here in the waiting period for the Margaret River Pro. Thanks for joining us on the Harvey Norman host set. Joe, Shannon, and Richie Lovett. We talked about the midseason cut for the men's side, same type of drama for the women. Shannon, you've talked to a lot of the competitors all year long. You've definitely felt the pressure in the Red Bull Athlete Zone.
It is crazy to think of that pressure. I mean, we're already looking at who's made the cut now between Carissa, Risa, Tyler, and Lakey. But for the rest of the women's field, it is wide open as to who those next 6 competitors are that's going to make the jump, and everyone's feeling it.
It's so crazy when you look at just 4 names that we can celebrate all the way through to G-Land. World number 1, Carissa Moore, happy to be back in yellow. Tyler into number 2 in the world after the win at Bells. But focusing on the cut line, we've got a big name like Sally Fitzgibbons that needs to perform at Margaret River, Rich.
Yeah, she really does. And, you know, I guess as a fan, we really buy into the careers of these surfers. And to see Sally there and to think about the tour without her, I'm not ready for that. And so, yeah, it's going to be a stressful week, but if anyone can rise to the occasion, it's going to be Sal.
We talked to the competitors about this mid-season cut.
I think there's a lot of talk about the cut line. It's new. I guess in terms of milestones, for me, there's a lot of firsts to be done, and sometimes you're the first to get cut, which is a different experience. Whether it's here or the Challenger Series, there's some crazy surfers waiting for me, and yeah, I just love the challenge, what it brings, and I think there's definitely a lot of positives to come from it.
Yeah, I mean, reality is I could be off tour, and you know, that's just how it is.
I mean, everyone's kind of like freaking out about this mid-year cut thing right now, and we've never really felt that before. So I guess that's where we'll see people really rise to the occasion, and some people will just crumble under the pressure, and that's sport.
You can feel different types of energy from the athletes trying to digest that big story of that midseason cut. You look at Sally embracing it. You know, she's won in the West last year. She represented Australia in the Olympic Games. I feel like for Sally, she wants a challenge at this point of her career, and she's taking it on at 100%. She is a previous champ in 2017. Tatiana will be defending her title, but focusing on the surfers that need a big result. Courtney won in 2015. She's solid out here. Steph Gilmore, even though she's not on this page, was in the final with Tati last season.
Yeah, it's shocking to see that Steph hasn't had a victory at Margaret River. I think that'd be kind of one of those things biting at her back as well. But she's had some good results out here in the past, so it really could go to any one of them.
So let's start with Sally Fitzgibbons. Rich, you were getting emotional thinking about the tour moving on without Sal, but she did have a quarterfinal at Bells. Do you think the momentum is in her favor heading to stop number 5?
You can feel it. She's starting to build, and what Sal does have is a really good relationship with Margaret River here. She's obviously had the win back in 2017, but a lot of similarities between Margaret River and her South Coast region down in New South Wales there. It's open ocean, it's a bit more raw, and we know that Sal, when the waves come up, she just really starts to tap into that energy, and you can see here some of her form in previous years, just really aggressive on these right-handers, and I've noticed in Bells too, she's been riding some longer boards, perhaps really thinking ahead to this event, so you can see there she'll be trying to channel all that positive energy back into this week.
Crazy to look at her draw though. Carissa Moore, world number 1, and also a local named Mia McCarthy. Carissa and Sally, ton of crazy heats over their lifetime. They'll be kicking off together in the opening round, and then we'll transition to Courtney Conlock, the 2015 champ, trying to make a serious comeback, Shannon.
Well, it's been a while since she's had victory here, but we've still seen her on the top of those results, and this is the wave that really suits Courtney's style. I mean, having a look at that wave there, just her feeling what the ocean has on offer, reading it, being able to stall to find the barrels, but also length of riding her boards all the time, finding that use of the rail. She's going to be one of those surfers who is absolutely frothing to know that we've got big waves on the forecast this week.
That's all she wants. She wants to feel the power of the West, and you think about Courtney, how much she loves to prepare. First one out this morning here on the opening day. The contest was called off quickly, but of course she wants to get the rail wet and stay nice and loose for the opening round of competition.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's some signs there, that it's tiny and it's small, and everyone's sort of had a bit of a sleep in, but she's out there. Courtney's out there tapping in and really starting to feel the vibes here at Margaret River.
And I think she felt the pressure last year to requalify. She got that moment at Mexico when it was down to the wire, so she wants to feel that same feeling of getting a spot into G-Land here at Margaret River. We're going to take a quick break. Much more to come up on Dawn Patrol. We'll get more of an insight on how this wave at Main Break in Margaret River really works. We'll be right back. River Pro. We are now at the 5th stop of the season. We flew across the country, about a 4-hour flight from the city of Melbourne, landed into Perth, drove about 4 hours to get to the Margaret River region. Richie Lovett, how does this wave work?
Well, we get these massive storms at the southern part of the globe here, and they move up and basically just pound the southern regions of Western Australia here, and all the focus is on the Margaret River main break here, which is an interesting setup. A beautiful short right-hander that sort of stands up, a longer left-hander that runs off a bit, and then of course we have the gnarly box across the bay there. But it's all produced by this deep trench that is about 3 to 5 kilometres off the shore here at Margaret River, and that produces this raw ocean power, similar to Hawaii, where these swells come from deep water, and then the shallow reef breaks around Margaret River here, and that's where all the energy comes from. And it predominantly likes a southwest swell. Anything with a little bit more west in it is going to stand the rights up. You can see that it's really open to the swell window, and that's why we often get these, just treacherous conditions that our surfers have to conquer.
Oh, it's so cool too that the box is on the other side of the bay. And imagine if you've never surfed out there before and your job's on the line to make the mid-season cut. It doesn't get any crazier than that, Shannon.
So much pressure. I mean, new waves to figure out, cut on the line. This week is going to be crazy, guys.
Yeah, think about your fantasy teams and your power picks. So you'll have a little bit of room to change it before we get out of the elimination round. A little insight on your power surfer for Margaret River, Rich.
It's hard to go past John and Philippe for this one, and Courtney and Steph on the women's side.
That's a solid one. Power surfers get double points. Obviously, Courtney and Steph under pressure to make that mid-season cut. Stay tuned with WorldSurfLeague.com for updates on competition here at the Margaret River Pro. We'll be back down here in the morning for the call.